A guy by the name of Dave Taylor, who owned a farm in New Kingston, took these regs, read these regs, and what it would mean to a farmer on the setbacks from streams and watercourses.
And he challenged the DP commissioner, to come up and see what I was going to do to him.
And he went out, Delaware County Soil and Water went out and flagged these streams on the setbacks to see what the impact would be for the fields that he would raise his corn in, his hay in, his pasture lots.
Dave and I kind of walked around the walked around the farm, talked for 2 hours, the usual kind of feeling people out. Basically what he was saying is that, you've made this farm a logistical nightmare. Even if I wanted to comply with this, which I don't, it's a logistical nightmare.
And virtually what it proved to do was to put this farmer almost out of business.
So we kind of shook hands, and I went on. I went back, got in my car, grabbed, called a bunch of people around me, and said, "I think we got to think about doing something different here, and because we're not going to withstand this, and and if we're not smart enough to admit when somebody else has got a point, we're going to be in big trouble."
They already had really clean drinking water, so we had to prove to them that by developing these things that they came up with, calling them best management practices, if we could do that and it would meet their criteria for the filtration avoidance, it was good.
And we basically said that the whole farm plan for any farm could include anything that was a business improvement, as long as it was also related to pollution improvement.
Mostly I said, well, guys, this is my mess, and it's your money, so let's see what you come up with and what I agree with. And I look at it like this. They're coming at it from the water quality viewpoint mostly, but there are a lot of things that for farm economically will piggyback. They're very closely. Improvements in one will improve the other.
So basically I said, what we're going to do is we're going to make environmental stewardship another pillar of the economic well-being of the Catskills.
And of course, the outgrowth of this was that it was a win-win. The city started to realize low-density land use of agriculture, properly maintained based on science, could work, and the farmer was happy, a voluntary incentive-based, locally led program. And of course, that developed WAC.
In 1993, I believe it was, things were proceeding at one level on a dialogue base, but on another level, the city was now changing the direction of its watershed protection program because they realized they needed to acquire lands.
The City of New York, behind our backs, went and filed for that land acquisition with the state of New York.
And it was deceitful. On an honest, sort of simple level, it was deceitful. You should have told your partners that you were going to be doing this and the reasons why, but they shouldn't find out about it by reading it in the paper, basically.
We were back at the table negotiating, and it didn't work out.
And lo and behold, you have this election, and Giuliani wins. And so the Dinkins administration is basically going to be gone. And Al Appleton's going to be gone. We don't know what's going to happen next. New Dialogue came in the form of Commissioner Gelber.
I think it's important that we from New York City understand what the on-the-ground impact is of whatever regulations we put forward.
Who approached the watershed in a fundamentally different way than her predecessors.
People matter in these things. Institutions can be at loggerheads, but ultimately it does come down to people and the relationships that they can establish with each other.
She said, we need to talk. And ultimately she reached out to Perry Shelton.
I was nervous entering his space, but I realized he was nervous too, because he was making coffee for me and he sort of messed it up and the coffee went all over the counter, and so we both ended up on our knees cleaning up because we didn't want his wife to see that we had messed up the coffee. So I realized that it was just an important moment where we understood we were both in this together and we were going to resolve it together.
I well remember the first thing she said to me. I come here to get this settled. And she said, if you work with me and you're honest with me, then we'll work together. And I'll be honest with you, and I can definitely say she kept her word, and I think I did too.
We got it done with an incredible amount of hard work, with very little time off for anybody, in a period of time between April of 1995 and November of 1995, in what were dozens, hundreds of meetings to hammer out have a discussion and hammer out agreements on different elements that were in dispute.
And it was, I think it was the importance of respect and trust and listening to people. Those were the ingredients.
At the end of November, we got a call that the governor's office thought we were there and they wanted to make an announcement. And the next thing that we know, we're on a podium in New York City with the mayor and the governor and all these parties announcing an agreement in principle.
And so, as history shows, the Watershed Agricultural Council did develop the prototype, if you may, for rather than having control watershed protection through police power, you could do it through partnership.